All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. You found us here at KGB Customs, home of some of the best custom gun content on the web, in our opinion. We share these custom guns in hopes of sharing some knowledge and to catalog some of the great pieces that come through our shop. We appreciate you all joining us. Now, before I open this box, some of you, of course, are tuned in and on our email list and know this gun already, have seen it. If you're disappointed you did not have the opportunity to vie for this type of gun or the others that have been posted and were already off to their new home, I suggest you do sign up to our email list. There's a link in the description. That email list is not going to spam you daily. It's not going to be sold or shared. That email list is just for us to inform interested parties and happenings and new arrivals here at the shop. Because these videos take time to record and edit, this is not always the first place you'll hear about cool new stuff going on here at the shop. Well, the gun, as you can clearly see, is an Heirloom Precision. Jason does a nice job of having these fairly swanky boxes made. It says custom gun maker, Heirloom Precision, with his fancy logo on the front there. And the gun, will be marked out on the tag, the label inside. Of course, it says make, model, and serial number, finest quality handcrafted firearms, Heirloom Precision. The box and packaging, of course, is reminiscent of any other high-end accessory a gentleman might buy in a store I can't afford to go inside of. And the gun will come, wrapped in Jason's fancy tissue paper. Jason does a great job of rounding out the package, I think, and packaging it in a way that a gun on this level deserves. The gun is a early 2000s Colt custom shop reintroduction. A lot of guys back in the day called them the new roll mark, Series 70. These guns were produced by the custom shop early on. They later became a full production item. Later on, the roll marks got changed to lasered roll marks, and they kind of tapered off production. And now they have the 1911C, the classic, which has pre-70 series roll marks, but they're lasered in. These, I believe it's an 1970 A1CS. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that SKU number, but these guns were fabulous base guns, probably the best base guns that Colt ever produced. And I think if you ask most guys who build on Colts if they could only build on one base gun, these would be top of the list for a lot of guys for their consistency and quality. These guns, like I said, came out from the custom shop, but were not really custom built guns. They had a nicer finish on them. The early ones had really beautiful, striking, like Series 70 original style buffed flats, very high polish and nicely finished. The fitment was pretty much standard run-of-the-mill Colt fitment, but the guns were often more parallel and numerically correct than the original 70 series guns. Jason's been building guns for a number of years. I will link at the end of this video a great interview that a customer and friend of mine, Keith Woods, did for Guns and Ammo with Jason recently that really goes through Jason's whole comeuppance and his theory in building guns. And it's just a great watch. It's well over an hour long, but I have watched the whole thing, and it's well worth your time. The beginnings for Jason started at a very young age. Of course, he grew up around guns and had a passion for them early on. He was originally from the Pacific Northwest, but did move to Arizona. He bought his first custom gun online. He bought a Swenson in early 2000s, right around 2001, as he recollects. And that was his first foray into a custom 1911. He, of course, had a Colt prior to that and was trying to kind of get to the next level. He'd explored lots of other options and thought, Swenson was the biggest name in classic custom pistols, so he started there. A heck of a jumping off point, certainly. And that began a desire in him to figure out how these guys built custom guns and try to emulate some of that. He had his own business at the time and was working on guns for himself and buddies in the back room of that. And in 2005, he got a call from Arizona and was, offered a position down there to learn custom pistol smithing from one of the best in the business. And that's not a phone call many get. And Jason was wise to jump on that, despite having roots in his home state and having a business that was operating. Jason walked away from all that and moved to Arizona in 2005. He worked with Ted Yost for about 10 years and worked with Ted prior to the formation of Heirloom Precision. He did build a lot of custom guns. Not to take away from that, but he was kind of hired on to be the front of the house guy for the shop Ted worked in prior to Heirloom Precision being formed in 2000s. Jason followed him, of course, and they were partners in Heirloom Precision from 2007 until Ted left that to start his next venture, Estate Sporting Limited, which was a solo venture. So Jason bought him out of Heirloom Precision, kept the name, and has been building guns under that shingle since its formation in 2007. Jason has strong theories on building guns and builds them to a very high level. This pistol was built in about 2010. Jason, of course, provides a nice build sheet with these guns, and we can go down the details there. I'll have a clear picture put up so you guys can read it as well. To include detailing the frame, straightening the lines. Now, this build sheet will read a lot like Ted's build sheets for good reason. Weld frame rails and refit frame and slide. Checker. This gun is set apart from a lot of Jason's and Ted's builds in that it's hand checkered 25 LPI instead of 30. Obviously, the customer probably dictated that, or Jason just on a lark wanted to try one. But nonetheless, that sets this gun apart from, I would say, probably, I'd have to ask Jason, but probably 90% of his builds. I know he does 20s on occasion, but 30 is certainly his usual. And of course, EGW slide stop, Smith & Alexander grip safety, machine thumb safety, fit cart barrel, EGW bushing, blend rear slide, flatten and serrate the top in the arrow pattern, install a Heine Slant Pro rear. So that is a heavily modified Heine sight. You'll see how close it comes to the top of the slide here, and they wrap the serrations and cut the leg off, and that Jason's rear sight pretty much looks like that to this day, with some finer tuning. He's got a little more finesse and a little tighter line in the back, but very, very similar to, of course, the Yost Bonnet sights. Ted Yost machines his own sights, but they worked off of Heine sights for quite a while. Of course, the gun has a gold line front sight, token Yost move there. Rear of the slide finely serrated, and the serrations are stopped short of the top of the frame rails, which that is a look I have also adopted and appreciate. This gun originally shipped with a nice set of Craig Spiegel grips, as many of their guns did out of Heirloom in that day. Of course, as Craig's grips have gotten harder to get, they've had to work with other vendors, but for quite a while there, it was Craig or nothing coming out of their shop. The original customer did send this gun back to Jason. Jason seems to recall him having Jason fit these ivories to it as well. These elephant ivories are really stunning. I'm sure it won't pick up in the video. Maybe we'll add a picture here of the grips and close up. But the antique Colt medallions just are a great look. And this set of ivory has beautiful figure and coloration throughout. It's not just a stark white, and it's not a dingy looking figure in them, just really outstanding. So there you have it, a great custom from Jason. Surely Jason will go down in history as one of the finest classical builders of the 1911 platform. I'm honored to know him and know Ted, and I think the world of both of those guys. They certainly both have carved out a niche in custom 1911 pistol smithing that I get to enjoy as a younger builder. And it's great to see these builds in person from both of those guys. I've had the privilege of examining both of their works. I had a similar vintage Jason gun in last year. That was a two-tone 80 series gun, and it was every bit as nice as this one, although not as nice condition-wise. That gun had been used a little bit, but it still remained tight, smooth, and was a righteous build. There was a long time that you could lay a Jason gun and a Ted gun on the table, and really only those two gentlemen could tell you whose was whose, because they knew their own work intimately, of course. But Jason has certainly, while keeping the classic look of these pistols and what I would call the Yost level of fit and finish, Jason has differentiated his style slightly. And now, certainly in the last 5 years, I think you can tell their work apart pretty easily if you're tuned into this stuff and know what you're looking at. Of course, you know, some guys see a polished blued built Colt, and Yost is the only name that comes to mind. But Jason's built quite a few guns, and he hopes to have a couple hundred more in him yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And like I said, check out that video interview and call Jason if you want to get in line. Thanks for tuning in.